what's up? Actually. Oh, it is. All right. What's up, everybody? Hello. La, la, la. All right. Just trying to get one of the games on. Probably going to the Sixers game. Delco Steve's probably jamming the Flyers. We'll get an update. Oh, I can't wait to talk to Delco Steve about the Flyers. I almost don't want to talk about anything else with the Flyers. Delco Steve. I apologize for being late. All you ingrates out there that are complaining in the comments. I was just doing a radio interview in Cincinnati with my friend Mo Egger. And I was late for it because I was late. We had something called Trunk or Treat tonight for the kids at their school, where we had a trunk. Opened up my trunk, put my seat down. You have like a theme. You give out candy. Like 1,000 kids take all your candy, and then they go home. So I was late getting back there. Where's Delco Steve? Delco Steve's watching the Flyers right now. He's probably upset. 76ers it was a close game when I had just taken a peek. I was following on my phone. Sixers right now, they're down by 12, 61-49. The league is going to investigate Joel Embiid's participation, whatever the hell that means. Like, what are they investigating? I can understand if the league wanted to investigate because the Sixers didn't say anything about him being injured. It seems like that they're investigating because he's going to be out for the first couple games, and you're not allowed to do that anymore. So they don't want load management and things like that. This is not load management. The dude's injured. Like, if this is really what the investigation is, he's injured. He went to the Olympics. He came back from the Olympics. His knee didn't respond. I mean, that's pretty obvious what happened, right? I don't know, man. Seems pretty obvious to me. The Sixers didn't want to say anything because they thought that he'd be back, or they were hoping he was going to be back. When they realized he wasn't going to be back, that's when they had to come out and say, oh, we're trying to ramp him up. Ramp him up for what? That's what training camp's for. The Sixers, their lack of communication, their treatment of the fans is ridiculous. Treat us like we're stupid. No, like at some point during training camp, if he was slow to respond to his knee after the Olympics, I understand you're going to hear a bunch of crap from the media and the fans because he's hurt again. Oh, he shouldn't have played in the Olympics. All right, well, maybe he shouldn't have played in the Olympics. I have no issue with it. He played in the Olympics. Maybe he played in the Olympics. He gets hurt when he doesn't play in the Olympics. What does it matter? Out of abundance of caution, we're going conservatively with Joel. His knee, whatever, and he's not gonna start the season. Not going to play to start the season. We could bitch and moan and complain, but ultimately, like, it's what's best for the player. I don't need Joel Embiid playing tonight. Like, whatever. Paul George actually was injured in a game, so it's unfortunate that these two players aren't playing, but ultimately, it's not really a big deal. But when the treat you like a schmuck, that's when it's a big deal, and that's what they did. They treated the fans like schmucks. They forget about the media, but they treated us like schmucks and gave us nothing, and now we're left to wonder. Like, Marcus Hayes is killing him in the paper, and he's saying that he's out of shape and he's letting the Sixers down or whatever. As far as I was concerned, Joel Embiid lost 25 pounds or something, didn't he? He looked thinner. I don't know what happened post-Olympics. I don't know. But that's the problem, is when the Sixers don't say anything, then it's left to wonder what happened. Did he not take care of himself? Did he not continue to train when he got back from the Olympics? Did he tweak something? Like, we don't know because they're just full of crap. All right. So that's unfortunately how we start the season again. Forget about the fact Joel Embiid's not playing, that we're 24 hours before the first game against the Bucks. It's, oh, well, yeah, Joel's not going to play. It's like, screw you guys. But anyway, that's the 76ers. Delco Steve, I need to hear what's going on with the Philadelphia Flyers. And listen, I had been Bill Matz of Broad Street Hockey, being on PHLY. It's a lot of hockey fans. And last year, Delco Steve was trying to get me. I was ready to jump on the Zamboner train. I was ready to be a Flyer fan. And then they kind of fell off at the end of the year. So I was like, all right, well, next year. All I heard, all offseason, all training camp, Mitchkov. Oh, my God. Flyers fans were ready to go. They were ready to go. And I've tuned in a couple times. Saturday night with the kids. I was talking the Flyers up to my kids because they don't know what a hockey puck from a cheeseburger. And they're like, yeah, Flyers. My daughter Gianna, her first grade teacher, was a huge Flyers fan. She would always come say, oh, yeah, but she's Flyers. Why don't we watch the Flyers? I'm like, no, we don't. So I turn it on Saturday night. It might have been the least entertaining 10 minutes of television that I've ever watched. And this is Saturday night's game. I tried. I gave it 10 minutes, and they were already not paying attention. And I was like, what am I doing? There's college football on right now. And I was out. Delco Steve, you owe us an explanation. What's going on with the team, man? I thought it was supposed to be an entertaining team. It wasn't necessarily all about the wins, but they were going to be exciting. They were going to be young. They're going to be flying all over the place. And I have seen Zero. Hi, hey, Steve.
Hi. How are you?
Dude.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad. That like they don't look. You talk about Saturday night. I talk about. I don't think I said JFC so many times in a short period of time last night.
Last night was bad. I tried again last night.
It was the two games at home. They're like they shot 2%. They have a 2% shooting percentage or something like that. Like, oh my god, it's bad. Like I'm watching the game last night. I'm like, these guys don't even look like they know what they're doing. Like you got guys turning the wrong way. You got guys leaving people wide open. It's just like, oh, like I don't know how to play a 2-on-1. It's bad. The backup goalie's trash. But we were all excited about Fedotov last year coming over.
He doesn't look like an NHL player.
No, he's 6'7", and I take up more space in the net, and he's got a foot on me. Like the guy can't look past the screen. Like he's given up 4 goals on 15 shots tonight. One of them I'll give him. Like the one or 2 of them are pretty good. The one was brutal.
At least they scored some goals tonight, right? 4-2, almost the end of the second period.
Yeah.
Who scored the goals for the organization? Konechny and Tippett.
Which right. Tippett's been. God, you want to talk about someone who's snake bitten? He should have multiple goals already at this point in the season. That's his first. Oh, we got a breakaway, and of course we don't.
Score,
go.
Flyers scored. Woo. All right, it's not over. 4-3.
I will say I did try to do the reverse jinx, and I bet the Caps -1.5, and now the Flyers are going to lose by 1 and totally screw me.
So you took the puck line.
I should have looked to see what it was at 4-0 and just cashed out.
Yeah, it would have paid you something. All right, well, 3 unanswered by the organization. Is it a goal? It hasn't updated yet on
I still haven't seen it. I still haven't seen an angle where it looks like it went in yet.
Oh, so it's not. All right. It's whatever. So Delco Steve, I'll just tell you, I'm extremely annoyed with the Flyers. I'm ready. Bad. I'm ready. I'm ready this year to make a commitment. I'm not doing 4 hours of sports radio. I'm doing less time. I'm able to kind of stretch the legs and not have to pound the Eagles every second that you're on the air, right? So it's like, you know what? I'm ready to be a Zamboner again. And start following the team. But like I've never seen Flyers fans. It takes me back to the process days of the 76ers, how you had this new group of 76ers fans that you know what I mean? Like everybody had beards and like, white dudes with beards and stuff like that, like what defined the process 76ers. And you had this new generation of fans. And I saw the same thing with Flyers fans last year into this year, especially with Mitchkov. And Broad Street Hockey, Bill Matt, Charlie O'Connor, Steve Jaco, they were going to preseason games to see Mitchkov play. And I mean, they had hundreds of people that were following them around. Their shows are doing big numbers. Flyers fans are hungry. And to start out the year like this, because here's the reality. Those guys are going to be watching the games. All those guys are going to be watching the games. They're diehards. Yep. It's me. You need me paying attention. You need me interested. You need me being like, damn, what's the name of that guy again? He's really good. And not only have I not gotten that, dude, I've gotten the worst hockey that I've ever seen. They don't even have an intermission. They don't even have a regulation win. Their only win the first game was on a shootout
and a comeback, no less.
A comeback shootout, right? So I mean, to me, without knowing really anything about hockey or any intimate details of this team, I know hockey coaches, once they lose guys, it's like they're gone. Tortorella, I don't know if he's the right coach for this.
Well, glad you brought that up because that's exactly what I've been thinking. It's just his thing is structure, and it's like yeah, I get it. They're the third youngest team in the league right now. They have a couple teenagers in the lineup. It's fine. Like I get that. Like there's going to be defensive breakdowns, but the breakdowns that I'm seeing are the guys that have been around for years now. It's not okay, yeah, you're gonna Mitchkov doing too much and he turns the puck over. Yeah, like fine. But he's also a 19-year-old with superior talent than anyone else on the team. I want him taking those chances, those risks. But it's the guys like Zamula, who's been around for 3 years, who can't figure out which way to turn when the puck's coming at him. It's just the structure's not there. They're not generating the pressure. Like that's what made the team fun last year. They might not have been the most skilled team, but they put the pressure on other teams that gave them the opportunities to get easy type goals. And this team doesn't have that right now. They're giving up, like they're not giving up total like a ton of shots and just losing. Like the San Jose Sharks are another team that are obviously struggling. They struggled a lot last year. They gave up a ton of shots and they give up 40 shots a game. We're at the end of the second period right now. They've only given up 15, 16 shots. But if they turn into 4 or 5 goals, and it's brutal.
It's the exact opposite of what they do. They get a lot of shots and they don't score, and the other team's getting half the amount of shots and scoring goals.
Yep. I don't know.
So how many games do you give Tortorella without knowing the inside, and we don't know what's happening internally?
Well,
20.
So the thing is with like Tortorella is they talked about how this could he's signed for this year, next year. But like this potentially could have been hypothetically his last year as the actual coach, and then he moves into upper management. They've talked about the triumvirate of Danny Briere, Keith Jones, and Tortorella being like this is the three that are going to be building the team going forward.
What do you need him for?
Agreed. I never understood why no coach has gotten this kind of ability to pick the players or have a say in how the team's made. It's like you're going to go with a John Tortorella structure forever going forward, like that. As long as Danny Briere and Keith Jones are the head of the pyramid here, so it makes no sense to me. It's having a coach with that much influence. So it's like, could he take it? Like, I don't think he gets fired. There's no way I think he gets fired knowing that situation. But could he potentially relinquish the job to somebody else and he moves upstairs, moves to some other type of position? That's the only real possibility. I don't see them actually firing him unless this just goes
really bad,
way off the rails. And I mean, it can kind of be a double-edged sword. If it does go off the rails, then it's what last year should have been. And there are a lot of good, talented guys at the top end of this draft. Again, I know no one wants to hear that 6 games into the season.
Yeah.
But it's like that's what it was supposed to be last year, and they overachieved, and they still got a good player in Luchenko that is potentially trying to make the team. I don't think he's going to stick around past 9 games played for him. But I don't know. I'm not trying to look at glass half full, but at least if they bottom out, they can bottom out and actually sell off some of these guys that could have gotten them assets in years past.
Yeah, I'm out. I need wins.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm out. And and believe me, I try to cut.
It's sad.
I'm trying. Sad. I am trying.
No, it's been a sad effort so far. And like you said, it's one thing to be bad and lose games, but it's one thing to be boring and play terrible.
I mean, terrible. If they're losing 5-4 games,
fine.
If they're 7-5, they're committing turnovers or in their own end or whatever, but still, you could see they're flying.
And you're competitive. I want competitive games.
These games suck.
If you told me last year they went 0-82 and they played every game 2-2 and lost in the last 30 seconds, I would have taken that. But it's like, all right, I got to watch a competitive game every game, and then did what they were supposed to and achieved for the high draft pick.
All right.
But,
There you go.
no,
Listen.
you can't do it this year. This year is different. They actually have some decent players, and they paid out players like they are good players, and so they need to produce like they are.
So tomorrow morning, I texted Bill Matz of PHLY Broad Street Hockey. Texted him early today. I said, listen, if the Flyers lose, I need you at 825. If they win, I don't need you. And he's like, okay.
Done.
I was figuring they were going to kind of lose because if they win, if they lose, people are going to want to bitch about it. People are going to be pissed. So it's like, all right, but how many would that be in a row? 6?
Yeah, they won the first game and then
they haven't won since.
And
they got an overtime loss, and the rest are regulation losses.
Yep. 3 regulation losses in a row.
Oh my God, man, that's pretty brutal. All right, well, go. Listen, you believe me? I've been thinking of you in these desperate times, man. I'm thinking about you. Hang in there.
It's been brutal. I'm trying. The only game I missed so far was. It sounds so bad. The only game I missed was the opener because I was at a wedding and I came home and watched it the next morning. But I did follow it, and every game I've watched, they've lost.
Poor Flyers fans.
Oh, it's brutal.
Flyers fans. All right, 76ers, meanwhile, the great 76ers. They're down by 18 midway through the third. They're not going to win that game. How many games does Joel Embiid miss, do you think, Delco Steve? Because here's the thing. Okay, because it was, we're still ramping them up. What are you talking about? There has to have been something that happened ramping up. Training camps are ramping up, right? So, would anybody be surprised if it was the first week in November and he still isn't playing games? Hopefully that doesn't happen, but should anybody be surprised? No, they shouldn't. What's your whole take on this? How do you feel about what happened here the last 40 hours?
Well, it's funny. You bring up the transparency of if guys are hurt or not. I've actually been on a tirade about this since Sunday morning with just sports in general. Like the Patriots killed me with Demario Douglas being sick, throwing up all morning, and no report about that whatsoever. Then the Niners do it with Deebo Samuel and his pneumonia thing. Sixers with the Embiid injury. There's way too much on the line outside of them. Like now it's like they need to be more transparent with the fans and let them know, like everybody across the league, every sport, it's like we're putting our hard-earned money into a variety of different things between either going to the game, apparel, whatever, gambling, fantasy, pick your poison, that these guys need to be very open and honest with us and let us know what's going on with the product. And because there's no competitive advantage in this anymore. It's like,
well, they think there is. Right.
But I think that ship sailed already because there's so many people and information gets disseminated so many different ways now. Right. It's like, you can't tell me that Joe Schmo in the locker room isn't talking to somebody else somewhere else where it eventually gets back to another team.
Of course. And that's why you see lines certain ways because people know it's just not out there publicly, but people know it swings lines. Remember the first game of the season? Imagine if you have Christian McCaffrey and you took him first overall. Lucked out. You're like, I got CMC. Boom! He's a snap. Who knows when he does?
Yeah, the Niners are like the number one seed of douchebags on this list.
Well, because even the first week, they were right up until kickoff.
It was 6:30. 6:30. They announced he wasn't playing.
Right, and then if you remember, who was it? Was it the running back that took over for him? I'm blanking on his name.
Jordan Mason.
Right now. Jordan Mason. He's like, yeah, they told me on Friday I was starting. And then it's created a whole shitstorm because it was like, hold on, you knew we were starting on Friday, but they didn't announce it until later on, until before this game day. You can't do that. So to your point with fans, fantasy football and things like that, like I don't think the leagues care a hill of beans or a lick about that. Well, maybe they should. But the gambling part is what makes it where they have to start disclosing this stuff.
Right. So 5 years ago, if it was just fantasy football, couldn't agree more with you. Like, you owe me nothing. Like, you owe me no information whatsoever. But now that these leagues are in bed with different sports books for advertising, where you're not forcing it down my throat. But you're forcing it down your fans' throats that you're a part of this now. So now you have to pull up your end of the bargain on that. If you're gonna entice your customer to do something, you have to give me all of the information.
Correct.
That's 100%. That's it.
Yep. There has to be more transparency. And these coaches, some of them are worse than others. Sirianni seems to get off of not answering questions about injuries, and he'll be like, well, Scott, I don't have to tell you about it. It's like, all right. Like, I get it. You don't want competitive advantage. You want them guessing or whatever. 99% of the time, you can read between the lines and see whether or not the guys are full of shit. And then there are situations where they are really a game time decision. You have guys that pull muscles, that are banged up, that say, you know what? You get on the field out there, you try to give it a go, and you can go. Those are all real things. But in the case of McCaffrey, where you know damn well he's not playing, you tell the running back that he's not playing on Friday because that changes things. If you're betting money and the team already knows, it has to be disclosed. And they lied because they put that first injury report out. So on a Friday, Christian McCaffrey,
he wasn't on it.
Out. He was ruled out. He should have been ruled out. He wasn't even injured. They didn't put him on the injury report till Saturday because they're full of crap. You can't do it.
Yeah, they ended up getting sent to Europe for the Kobe Achilles treatment. Like,
yes, he went to Europe.
You know it's bad. Like, you knew it was bad in preseason when he's got hurt and had to sit out. Like, you didn't give all the information then.
They're suckers, man. They really are. But with Embiid, so like here's exactly how I think it went down. I have no insider knowledge. I've spoken with nobody in the 76ers, and it makes the most sense. And I'm assuming I'm not the only person that has thought this. He goes to the Olympics. He comes back from the Olympics, and his knee's sore, and it swells up, and it's not great. I don't know if he wasn't getting treatment. I don't know if he fell off the wagon and put on weight. I don't know any of those details because the Sixers don't tell us anything. But Joel Embiid, like, he just wasn't ready to go. He came to training camp. The knee still wasn't feeling great, so they're taking it easy on him. He's not ready to start the season. BFD, right? Like, who cares?
No, I'm 100% with you.
Yeah, like, would anybody have been surprised? Forget about the Olympics. If his knee had soreness and they said, you know what? We're going to take it easy and go conservative. He's not going to start the regular season. Would anybody have been surprised or shocked or angry? Right? Like, I'm annoyed at this point, but this is what you're going to get with Joel Embiid. So if you're not expecting Joel Embiid to be injured at any point during the season, then that's on you, right? Like, you got to have realistic expectations. And that's what bothers me about the 76ers. They treat us like schmucks. This organization, and it hasn't been the same owner the entire time. I get that. They've had Comcast. They've had Harold Katz. They've fixed Dixon before that. And now you have Joshua Harris, right? So it's not Daryl Morey hasn't been here for 40 years. They've been to one Eastern Conference final in 40 years and one NBA final in 40 years. Now, I'm talking to a Flyer fan, so you're like, yeah. But the Flyers have been to more finals in Stanley Cup finals in that time. They just haven't been able to get that Stanley Cup. For over 40 years, one. Sixers fans have went through the process. In 3 years, the Sixers won as many games as they won last year. 47 games in 3 years. They were intensely trying to lose games. And you know what? 76ers fans supported it. And they were along for the ride because at the end, they were promised Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. And you know what? We got that. It didn't end up getting us the title, but we got that. It was actually worth the wait because they went for it. But then between Colangelo and having the burner accounts and Ben Simmons and Doc Rivers, who was just a total dick towards
Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz was a disaster. Like, Daryl Morey comes into town. His attitude is, I don't care. I wasn't here. This isn't on me. Sorry, Sixers fans. I'm a great GM. What are you talking about? Well, Daryl, you inherited a franchise that hasn't won shit in 4 decades. So sorry, there's frustrations. We waited through the process. Now our best player, our MVP, he can't stay healthy. And it's like this every year. You can't get past the second round. I'm amazed as many 76ers fans are so interested in the team at this point with everything that goes on. So it really, really bothers me that the 76ers treat their fans like.
Oh, and we lost John. But no, he's got a really valid point where this team, we as fans, we deserve better from this team. And he's back. There he is.
Oh, wow.
You got so animated that you knocked yourself off.
I scared StreamYard. So anyway, so that's why I was really, because I mean, really, Steve, like, what would have happened if they would have came out in the middle of training camp and said, yeah, like he's having some soreness and it's swelling a little bit, so we're going to kind of push it back. Because he didn't scrimmage. He didn't play in the preseason. So anybody who was really paying attention should have never thought he was going to start the regular season. But the Sixers never even hinted at that because they were worried about catching shit from the fans. Here was the comparison I gave. And I'm as guilty of this as any husband or boyfriend out there, right? So, like, when it's like, oh, hey, we're going to go to the Super Bowl in Phoenix for a week. Or, hey, we're going to the Summer League to see the 76ers, right? So the intention is to tell your wife or girlfriend immediately. And so it's like, I'll tell her Friday night, go out to dinner, tell her, and then you're having a good night. You're maybe feeling a little lucky. You don't want to ruin it by dropping some bad news. So you don't tell her. I'll tell her on Sunday. Then you don't tell her on Sunday. I'll tell her Wednesday night. No, you don't tell her Wednesday night. So then 3 weeks passes and you're leaving in a week. And
by the way,
I got to go for this. And now she's pissed because you gave her no heads up. And now I got all 3 kids for 5 days while you're on vacation in whatever. As if you just would have said something immediately, it would already be over with and you wouldn't have to deal with it. And that's what the 76ers did. They just kept waiting and hoping that Embiid was going to be okay so they didn't have to disclose because they didn't want to hear the crap. They didn't want to hear, you should have let him play in the Olympics. You should have rested. Like, whatever. If people were going to be like that, then people were going to be like that. I wouldn't have been like that. He was playing for the United States. He wanted to play for the United States. I have no problem with it at all. At all.
I'm never going to say someone shouldn't chase an Olympic dream of, like, come on. Like, who am I to say that? It is what it is. But it's like, honestly, I don't. If you tell me he doesn't play till Christmas Day, I don't care. If this team is in the hunt to be in the playoffs and then they get from the sixth seed and up after Christmas on, I'm in. I don't care. I only care about this team is irrelevant to me until the playoffs.
You're so right. Honestly, this is the first year I'm really even paying. Again, it's the non-sports radio thing, and like because I outside of maybe this story or reacting to a game, you're still talking Eagles 85-90% of the time after the Phillies are done. So I'm not even paying attention to what the Sixers are doing in October, November. December hits, Christmas hits, then you start paying attention depending on what's going on with the football team. Hell, when the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, I'm not paying attention to the 76ers until the Super Bowl's over. You know what I mean? It's easy it was easy for me to kind of forget about them, and this is why. It's just, God, it's so frustrating. It really is.
Anyway. On a side note, I did have a buddy that went to Eagles-Dallas game years ago and didn't tell his girlfriend and called her when he was on the plane telling her that he was going to Dallas.
Yeah, really?
That did not go well.
It's believe me. And the 76ers are such wimps. It's almost like, well, we don't need to tell him yet because he may be fine. He may be perfectly fine. And who knows what Embiid's saying, because Embiid normally dictates it. But he's clearly not fine. And then you combine that with Paul George. We saw Paul George hyperextend his knee.
Did your heart drop when you saw that?
Yeah, I thought he was done for the year.
Oh, I thought he was done.
But then they said hyperextension. It's like, all right, it looks like it. Let's hope. I mean, honestly, outside of the diehard 76er fan, who gives a shit about these games? Like, it's opening night. It's nice to turn on the TV and see the Sixers and shiny new object to Paul George who's not playing. Other than that, who gives a shit? Get these guys healthy.
Yeah,
Make sure they're healthy.
If they're healthy by April 1, ready to go over the playoffs, that's all I care about.
All right. Well,
they got enough talent to compete again, like outside of the big boys in the East for the time being.
Honestly, I like this. You get George and Embiid back. I like this team, despite what's happening tonight, where they're down by 18 in end of the third. I like this. I like this team. I think that you know what it'll come down to, and it's almost like the hot team in baseball. And it didn't end up working out with the Mets this year because the Dodgers offense, they're just monsters. Dodgers and Yankees is going to be a great World Series. These two teams are monsters.
First matchup ever between two players that hit 50 home runs in the season.
Wow, that's amazing. Ohtani. I mean, you talk about star power. Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. And then you have
Judge
Soto, Giancarlo Stanton, who you forget about. And then
just
you
won
watch
the
these games.
championship series MVP.
Dude, he is so freaking big. Not big like Judge, because Judge is he's 6'8" playing center field somehow. But Stanton looks like he takes a bat, like he just takes a tree and he rips it out of the ground and he goes up there with it and hits home runs. He is so freaking big and strong. They're fun to watch. I'm looking forward to this World Series. But like the Phillies of 2022, where something special happened and the team just gelled. Girardi got fired and the team gelled. The 2023 Diamondbacks, the Eagles of 2017, where everybody was pulling in the same direction. And you could just tell like something was working. And it wasn't just the talent on the team, which they were fine with, but just there was something that was special that was working. That's how the 76ers make the finals or make the Eastern Conference Finals. There needs to be some kind of chemistry that is like, wow, these guys are like really good together. And it's impossible to predict that that's going to happen over the course of a season. So I don't know,
man. I do think this mix of players has, like, they've kind of removed like the negative players. Like, not that Tobias Harris is like a bad person or a bad guy, but like he was a negative around the team where his quotes would get put into the media and like it'd be backlash on him and then his play in general. So like you don't have a lot of those type players right now as of yet on the team. So I think this could be a group that kind of comes together better than years past. But it also comes down to Embiid and George.
Right. No, but I think Nurse is Nick Nurse is a really good coach. He gets it. Like these guys got to play defense. These guys have to believe they're not losing games in the playoffs at the end of games. It's like, we're not freaking losing. Remember last year, Maxey, he was shooting from half court because he knew that if he took any more dribbles, he would get fouled or they would go after him. So he's like, I'm not losing this game. They need more guys like that aren't losing games. And you know what? In the comment here, you're assuming Embiid will be healthy later. The problem is he never is. No, I'm not assuming it. I'm assuming he's not going to be healthy. Right? Like someone just called me an optimist. It's hard on the first day of the season to tell 76ers fans, not everybody's a dick like me. And it's just like, yeah, the Sixers aren't winning anything. And Embiid's not going to win anything. He's never going to be healthy. I don't want to do that to fans because like I may feel that way, but I don't think people tune in to hear negativity, but that's what I feel. Like this isn't like with Embiid, it's not coming together. He's never going to be healthy and playing at his optimal prime in the playoffs. I don't care if they sit him in this game 60. He's not going to be healthy in the playoffs. Like, yeah, that's ultimate. I hope I'm wrong, but that's how it feels, brother.
Yeah, I mean, if you could get prime healthy Joel Embiid for the playoffs, like it's game changer. It's game changer. So I just need him to not jump into the stands, game 81.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Eagles. Oh, Nick Sirianni, they bounced back a week after. So we weren't on last Wednesday, and probably glad I wasn't because I was so pissed at Sirianni for bringing his kids up to the press conference. So mad. So mad. He's such an idiot. He is just such a dummy. Because then he continued to fight back about it because he's like, no, I love my kids.
I've done it before.
Right. I'm like, do you not see the difference, you idiot?
Yeah.
Like you stone fool. Do you not see? And I don't know if Sirianni, they brought him up there as a shield or whatever, because that's the way it looks. I don't know if that was the case or whatever. But I mean, I wasn't sure Sirianni was okay. I don't know if you watched the entire press conference.
I did not.
He was not okay. They told him right before he came on that he got caught yelling at the fans and he freaked out. And that's how I wonder if the kids got thrown up there with him. It was bad,
well, man. Did you see the story? How the guy who he was yelling to like came out, like, and said something. It's like, okay, well, if that's what it was, just say that, and then it's like it'll get verified. It's like you don't look like such an idiot. Like you're just like, oh, I'm excited. It's like if someone says like, yeah, we saw you yelling at fans, you just be like, oh, well, I said something like that guy said something earlier, and then it
we were going back and forth. It was all in good fun. He was giving it to me earlier in the game. We were going back and forth. It was all in good fun. He was an Eagle fan.
Right.
Like, and all he had to say, and it's over.
And then he would have gotten buzzed. Like, he would have been like, well, why are you interacting with the fans? Which he shouldn't be. But like that's a whole different conversation than you're being confrontational with your own fans. It's just like that. It's like I saw that, I was like, oh, this moron. Like I was pissed.
And then he reacted like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. He got caught and he freaked out. And I'm sure the Eagles, because he goes up there, they're trying to prepare him for it. He goes up there and he totally wigged out. But the kid, like the children win the NFC. If you win the NFC Championship game, if you win the division, and you're wearing the NFC East hats or whatever, bring your kids up there. Knock yourself out.
Shit, I would have given it to you if you beat the Browns by 40. And it's just like, oh, it's going to be a kumbaya press conference. Fine, bring your kids up. I don't care. Don't bring it up when you barely beat the worst team in football by 4 points when your fans were obviously
when you
not
just
happy.
You just got caught yelling at the fans like an idiot.
Yep. Yeah.
And I don't even care that he's yelling at the fans because he is an idiot, and I know that. But anyway, they come back. They throttled the Giants on Sunday, man. Dominating performance. Dominating performance. Defense looked great. Saquon's amazing. Great performance.
They couldn't have let Saquon do the Boston Scott and score the second and third touchdowns. Like, come on.
You obviously have a
speaking of someone who bet him for 2 and 3 touchdowns.
I was gonna say, is it fantasy related or is it because I had some fantasy people that were mad as hell.
It's like, come on. If that was Boston Scott, they were running it in every time.
Also, Jalen missed them on the it would have been an easy reception for a touchdown. And I was with somebody that just needed Hurts another passing touchdown or a passing touchdown from Hurts for a parlay that would have paid out decently.
Oh my God.
Because he had something over on Mark Andrews and that hit later on. He hit a bunch of the legs. But yeah, it was sorry, my wife is texting me. All right, there you go. So yeah, ultimately it was a dominating performance. Does that game make you feel you don't feel worse, but do you really feel better after the Giants game?
No, the Giants offensive line was in shit. Their best tackle, Thomas, was out. And
they got dominated.
We saw what happened last season when he went out. That offensive line fell apart. So is it any better this year without him? Probably not. And look, the defensive line that couldn't sniff the quarterback for the first 5 games of the season, all of a sudden, had 7 sacks? Like, that's like, I'll wait to.
I think they had 8. So they had 13 sacks over the last 2 weeks. That's they've only done that twice in 20 years, the last 20 years.
The 2 most sacked quarterbacks in the league this year.
Right. And
so granted, they took advantage of a cupcake matchup.
No, Deshaun Watson is on pace to be sacked the most times ever. And like not even close. The most times ever, the most yards ever, the most sacks ever. Now he's not going to, obviously, because he's out for the season. But yeah, so and Daniel Jones stinks or whatever. So I mean, yeah, like, does this make you feel better about the team? No, it doesn't. It was a fun game to watch. I'll take one of those games 100%. All the time.
I'll take a 20-point win that I don't have to think about if my team's going to blow it to a crap team.
Right.
I'll take those I'll take that against every bad team. They did
what they were supposed to, and then some.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good one, especially against the Giants. It was a good one to blast them like that. But Jalen threw it 14 times. It's funny, Steve, because in 2021, the year before they went to the Super Bowl, everybody was, you don't need Jalen to throw the ball, just run the ball. You can't stop the Eagles running the ball. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Don't throw it, run it. And I was the guy that was like, you can't run the ball to the Super Bowl. Yes, you can. Look what they did in 2017. Like, nope, the quarterback's actually going to have to throw the ball. Yep. Like a real quarterback. You can't run this dink and dunk college offense and have him running the ball, and you're going to win like that. And in 2022, Jalen Hurts developed as a passer. He was amazing at the end of the year. He was amazing in the playoffs. He was confident. He stepped up. He was decisive. He was really good. He developed into a really good quarterback that threw the ball. And I feel like I haven't seen that guy since halfway through last year.
Ever since he hurt his knee last year. Like, literally, since the game he hurt his knee, he has not been the same player since. He was odds on NFL MVP, week 10 last year?
Yeah.
Week 11? At the halfway point of the season? It's like, and then from there on, so the next almost full season since,
he's been average.
He's been worse than his first year.
Yeah. Well, he didn't
he's
turn
turned
the ball over.
over.
He didn't turn the ball over the last 2 weeks, which is like, and that's what people say, like, hey, he's not turning the ball over. Like, we are talking about a game manager. He has 7 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I'm getting this again. I'm like, oh, well, he's got 11 touchdowns on the season. I'm like, whoa. That's 4 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, but you have to include all the touchdowns. Like, oh,
No.
shut up. No one's including rushing touchdowns with all the elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't hear Josh Allen. Josh Allen's stats are separated. Like, he's like, oh, he's this for this. Oh, and then he ran for 15 touchdowns. Like, on top of that.
Right. Yeah, you're not adding his 10 rushing touchdowns to his 19 passing touchdowns. He got more than that. But anyway, we've went back to the future. We went back to Jalen Hurts, the game manager that doesn't need to throw the ball, and we just need to run the ball. You get Saquon Barkley, and you can't be stopped last week. And there's a lot of Eagles fans that think that this is actually the formula to win. It's not. It's not. You need better play from your quarterback. You do. It's great. It's great if he doesn't turn the ball over. That's a good start. Unless he plays better, this team's not winning crap.
Well, they're probably going to see another heavy run offense this week because the Bengals run D is not that great. Been a little better with Reader back in there, but I can see a very 60-40 run heavy offense kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that if it works. But when they take it away,
that's what I mean.
When they take it away, like the Browns said, hey, Saquon's not going to beat us, and he didn't even average 3 yards a carry in that game because they stacked the box and they're like, you're not beating us. They beat him in the passing game. So like it's like, all right, we're gonna have to pass for it. I don't need Jalen throwing for 400 yards. That's not what I'm asking for.
No, I would like 250 and efficient offense where it opens up the running.
Right.
Especially late in the game.
I need a legitimate NFL passing offense. The talent's too good. I need to feel like that the quarterback's going through his progressions and finding the open receiver and not missing guys over in the flat because he's not seeing it, not taking off, rolling to his right because he's sensing pressure or he's feeling pressure. In 2022, that second half of the season and in the playoffs, when pressure was coming, he stepped up in the pocket, he wiggled around, and he made confident, strong throws. He hasn't done that since then. And it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch because I'm seeing exactly what I worried about and why I don't think this guy's an above average starting NFL quarterback. He was Mr. Intangible. There's Mr. Unlimited, which is Russell Wilson, and there's Mr. Intangible. He had every intangible you wanted, Jalen Hurts. But can he be a good enough passer? That 2022 season, it looked like he could. I haven't seen it since then.
It's you could never explain to me before the season that Devontae Smith would have a game where he has 1 catch for -2 yards in a game. Especially I know they ran the ball a lot against the Giants, but come on. It's like, how do you not get is he not your third best player on offense? Debatably sometimes the second best player on offense. It's like you need to get the ball into his hands and let him produce as well. If this team's going to get anywhere, everyone needs to be a threat on this offense. So you can't just tee off on Saquon or tee off on AJ Brown.
No, you're right. The offense should be dangerous.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts was a dual threat in 2022 and half of last year. He was a dual threat. He could kill you with his legs. He could kill you with his arms. If he can't kill you with the arm anymore, then what does it matter?
Look what the Ravens are doing they add Derrick Henry to that offense. Are we going to see any of their other skill position players compared to ours? I wish I still.
Well, no, all right. So look at the Lions. Weren't the Eagles and the Lions supposed to be similar offenses?
Yeah.
Right. All I heard was look at Devontae, Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Saquon. Oh, Jahan Dotson, former first-round pick, is your third wide receiver. He stinks, right?
Terrible.
And Jalen Hurts. This was supposed to be a Lions type offense. This is not the Lions offense.
And the Lions they're using less of their guys. They're barely using Laporta this season. It's been the running backs and Jameson Williams getting here and then St. Brown. They're still putting up 40-point games.
3 straight games over 40. That's what I'm saying. That was supposed to be the Eagles offense. They're struggling against the freaking Browns and the Giants to put up points. They still haven't scored in the first quarter.
Oh my dude. I think it's a shtick at this point. I think they're doing it on purpose. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic that you cannot score in the first period. You couldn't score in the first quarter against the freaking Giants. Like,
yeah, it sucks.
This team pisses me off.
It is frustrating. Cincinnati this weekend, they remain a favorite here. I saw BetParks app 2.5 point. Yeah, 2.5. Kind of like,
I don't know.
Bengals aren't very, and they have a ton of talent too. They're not very good. I mean, they beat the Giants and the Browns as well. They have a similar winning as the Eagles do. Let me see. I don't know. There's something missing with the Bengals too.
Their defense is just not it.
So the Bengals lost. They lost to didn't they play the Chiefs beginning of the year?
The Bengals lost week 2 to the Chiefs, yeah.
All right, so let me look at their so they lost to the Patriots the opening game, and that was a bad loss, but it's also week 1.
Terrible loss.
Tight loss to the Chiefs. That was a tough one. Lost to the that's right. So they lost their first 3. Lost to the Commanders, and the Commanders laid a whooping on them. That was a Monday night game. And their Commanders' offense looked great. Now Daniels is out for looks like a little bit of time. They beat the Panthers. Not a great, Panthers stink. They lost to the Ravens, and that was a high-scoring game. They should have won that game.
Yep.
They let the Ravens back in there because I bet the Ravens that game, and the Bengals should have won that game. And then they beat the Giants 17-7.
I had the Bengals money line.
Did you really? That was a tough one.
Bengals money line parlayed with the Colts plus 3.5. Colts were getting smoked the entire game. They come back to lose by 3. The Bengals are up
the Flacco comeback.
Yep, and the Bengals are up the entire game and proceed to lose at the end.
And the Bengals just beat the Browns 21-14, which was a
Mitchkoff.
win. You get a goal?
Yep.
Did he?
Yep.
What's the score?
4-3.
Ooh, there's still time.
The breakaway did not count as a goal.
I see that. There you go. All right. Well, it was a power play goal.
I wasn't. The one time I wasn't looking up.
Well, that's what it says on ESPN.com. It says PP.
Yeah, it looks like
power play. All right. Mitchkoff with his first Flyers goal, right?
3rd.
Oh, is it 3rd? He hit some earlier in the season.
He had 2 in
first 2 games.
The second game, 3rd game, I think. I don't know.
All right.
He had 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of the game.
All right. Goal and assist so far in the game here. Flyers down 4-3. To the Caps, the good old home and home, back to back, belly to belly. Washington last night at the Wells Fargo Center, tonight down in DC. There you go. All right, so Eagles win. Prediction?
No.
You don't think they do?
No. I need more convincing. If they play the Browns the same way they played against the Browns, the Bengals win.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So
the
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins can do some damage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a matchup thing. All right. I'm
hoping I'm wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. It's on the road. They're underdogs. They're not the same team where you can expect them to go in and they're just going to beat whoever. So I would not be surprised at all if they lost. What's the one other thing I wanted? Oh, so you mentioned Derrick Henry earlier. And did you hear?
Did you say Jerry Jones?
Yeah, but I'm talking about Jerry Jones.
Oh, he's such a moron.
So you saw how he threatened my guys down in Dallas? Yeah. So he threatened. He said that he'll have somebody else ask the questions, and then he went on with him yesterday. And RJ Choppy wasn't there. He was off, but
he was on vacation.
Yeah, but Sean, I mean, I would not have been on vacation that day. Sean Sharif, he was there. So they have Jerry on it, and they're fine. But he's still being asked the same question. And the night before Derrick Henry, I think he had 169 yards. So that was the Monday night game. Yeah, so he was on Tuesday, and Derrick Henry just went off. Do you know what Derrick Henry's contract is, Delco Steve?
Was it 210?
2 years for $16 million, or is it 2 years for? I think it's 2 years, $16 million. It's only $9 million in guarantees. So ultimately, if they wanted to cut him after a year, they take a couple $1 million cap hit in that second year, but it's really like a 1-year contract with a little bit into the second year. Right. So if he was cooked, if he looked old, if he's injured or whatever, Baltimore doesn't need him past this year. As it stands, he's on pace to rush for 2,120 yards. When they signed and everybody said, wow, like that could be scary, he's exactly what the Ravens need. He also needs to still be that player. And I wasn't sure if he was going to totally be that player. So far, he's that player, man. He looks fast. He is big.
That 80-yard run, that 81-yard run the other,
yeah.
He hit the third highest speed of his career.
Dude.
He ain't lost a step.
He's a beast. He's 30 years old, too. He's for every 10 running, like all like Pro Bowl type running backs, 9 of them by age 30 lose their skills. This
9.5
ain't one of them. Yep. This guy ain't one of them.
Dude, it's just amazing someone that big running away from someone half his size.
Yep.
Like, and they can't catch him. They can't catch him. It's insane. He's freaking nature. For me, first ballot Hall of Famer. He's
for sure.
God.
For sure. Look at his numbers. His numbers were amazing. But
thank God he's not a Cowboy.
But so think about it. He actually wanted to be a Cowboy.
He lives in Dallas.
It was well known he lives in Dallas. The Cowboys Jerry Jones said they couldn't afford him. And he was asked about it on Tuesday. And he said, well, doesn't mean he would have had the same success here if we would have signed him. He's more or less saying like, yeah, well, he wouldn't have done that here anyway. So what's it worth? He won't take the L on it. He will not take the L on Derrick Henry. At the time, Jerry said they can't afford him. And that was when Dak Prescott still wasn't signed. That's when CeeDee Lamb still wasn't signed. So they really didn't have a ton of cap space because Dak Prescott was taking up $60 million on the cap. CeeDee Lamb was taking a big number up on the cap. Even with that, hey, Derrick Henry, we'll offer you, how much guaranteed did I say? You get $9 million. We'll offer you $10 million guaranteed. We'll space it out over a 3-year contract. And the last 2 years are really where the cap hit is. And you'll have no cap hit this year. You get the same money. You get the same guaranteed money. The salary cap is bull. These contracts are nonsense.
We talked about it so many times.
All the time. You just have to be willing to pay. Jeffrey Lurie pays everybody. We said, Steve, Delco Steve, we talk about it all the time. You're right. All you have to do is pay money up front. Doesn't matter. You could do them a 20-year contract. It's so dumb. And the fact that he keeps talking about this reasoning, like you had said, they gave Ezekiel Elliott $3 million guaranteed. For $6 more million guaranteed, you could have had Derrick Henry. Meanwhile, they got slow-ass Ezekiel Elliott. And it looks like they don't have a running game. And meanwhile, they could have the right now the best running back in football. And they don't.
But it's like he doesn't have the luxury of other GMs being able to say, it's like, yeah, I can't spend the money. He's the GM. He's the owner. It's his money to spend. It's like he can't throw anyone else under the bus besides himself. So I don't know, man. He's
3-year, $24 million contract, $10 million guaranteed. You backload the contract. His cap hits $1 million for the first year. If you love him and he's great, you give him more guaranteed money after that 1 year. And so, like, thank God that's what you're up against, because the Cowboys are winning nothing as long as Jerry Jones is running the team. Nothing.
As long as he's the GM, they will never be a team that you need to worry about.
No,
100%.
Don't beat the Eagles. They can beat the Eagles in regular season games. They're not winning the Super Bowl.
No, I'm saying, like, if you had to go into, like, think about what the Packers did last year. Going into Dallas, it's like, the Dallas is high-flying team. CeeDee Lamb was on fire at the end of last season. He was putting up 150 yards every other game just about. And what happens? They get boat raced by the Packers with a first-year starting quarterback in his first playoff game. It's like, it's sad. It's like, thank God it's the Cowboys that it's happening to and no one else. Or, no, you know what I mean. But
thank God it's the Cowboys.
Yes, it's great. It's fantastic.
All right.
And then he freaking just backs the bus over Mike McCarthy and says they're terrible play callers.
Dude, there was a story that came out today on ESPN.com that I guess they're always running. It's like the White House. You know, the White House, there's always tours that are going on at the White House. And you don't actually get into the West Wing. You're in the areas that, you're never going to see the president or whatever, secure areas. So it's the same thing in Dallas. They're constantly having tours. Who was it that I saw? Because some players denied saying it in the story, but then there was another player that said that they used to be in the weight room and they would have people banging on the glass and look up, and there would be people taking these tours. That there's always people. Like they're in there lifting weights, and there's people banging on the window, be like, "Hey, y'all, look who it is!" And it's like, yeah, it's different down there, man. It's different. It's awesome.
Keep him as GM for as long as he wants to be there. I love it.
He's 82 or 83 now. I forget. He just had his birthday.
82. I hope he lives to 100.
Matt Lombardo is who he's talking about. I saw him at Costco today. He was wearing a mask. He was famous. He didn't want anybody to see him. Well, I mean, maybe he has COVID, and that's why he had the mask on. I don't know. My sister-in-law has COVID. They don't even, like. So right now, Steve, all 5 of us in the house right now are on antibiotics. 4 strep throats and 1 sinus infection. Now, 2 are. Am I done after today? I think I have 1 more day to go. But 2 Fridays ago, Liz and I were supposed to go Saturday night. I had gotten a hotel room in the city. We had reservations. We were going to go to this espresso martini bar after dinner. And nice. Friday, and we figured it out. We hadn't been away from the kids in 4 years. We had been, but together we hadn't been away from the kids in 4 years. We went back, and I'm like, I think it was this, and we went back in photos, and it's like, yeah, it was 4 years ago. So it's like, all right, I set it up. I got the reservations. I got my mom to come over. I was like good husband, everything that she's asking for from me, like to plan the date, make the reservations, get the childcare. Boom, I did it. And so this is supposed to be a Saturday night that we're doing it. And Friday, I wake up with not just a sore throat, but like wow, man, this is really, really bad. And as the day progresses, I'm like, yeah, something's not right. And so by 4 o'clock, I have a fever. I'm like, I think I have a fever. And like 102 or something. So I'm like, oh man, do I have the flu? What the fuck is this? So now she's like, she's like, well, let's just, with the reservations. I'm like, hon, it's already paid. They give you to a certain date and then you have to confirm it and pay. She's like, but I feel like if you call them and say you have the flu, and I'm like, I feel like that doesn't matter. That I already paid for it and it's theirs. There's no calling and saying I have the flu. So we ended up going on Saturday night anyway, and I was sick as shit, because I had strep throat, but I didn't know it, so I wasn't on antibiotics yet. So I'm having, and this was really bad. I don't get sick often. I am like sweating through my clothes, and then the worst chills ever, and then sweating through my clothes. So we went to dinner. We went to the martini bar. I tried my ass off to have a good time, and I tried everything. We went. Go to Sampan.
No, I've heard of it though.
Yeah, I went to Sampan because we love Sampan, and and like I tried everything because it's like a tapas place, it's small plates. So I'm like, yeah, this is really good. I wanted nothing to do with eating anything. But so we got it done. So anyway, so then I got everybody sick with. I was ground zero of the strep infection.
Well, look at that. How the tables have turned.
Yep. It's true. Yeah. So anyway. Yep.
I freaking hate strep. I'll take COVID. I've never had COVID, but I'll take COVID over strep just from
COVID has been bad. I was not planning daughter number 4, but daughter number 4 would be impossible.
Can't go there. Can't go.
It would be impossible at this point to have daughter number 4, but it doesn't mean you can't try. Is what I was saying. There you go. All right. Do you do Halloween? Do you have, is this like this weekend, the Halloween party weekend? Do you go out to parties?
I haven't in the last few years. It is
no.
Like if something comes up, great. But the whole getting dressed up for it kind of thing kind of ship sailed for me.
Yeah, I have no interest in.
I don't even like giving out candy anymore.
No, you shut the light off?
I did last year because my neighborhood is like, because I'm all row home, so like we get people from all over that come to our neighborhood to trick or treat. Like it's not like just kids. It's like it's not kids from if it was kids from the neighborhood, great. I'd sit out there all night.
You're a destination for trick or treating,
right? Because you could hit 10 houses in 2 minutes. Like just walking. You don't have to do any effort to.
Yeah, so you can you can hit a lot of houses in a short amount of time.
Yep.
So that's smart.
It's not my favorite night of the year around here.
No, I'm trying to.
Oh, we lose you.
I gotta try to pull it out here. So we were. So the idea. So you understand when I say trunk or treat, what that means or no?
Yeah, that was the big trick or treating during COVID.
Oh yeah, actually, you know what? I guess it was. I don't know if they did this before or not.
I never heard of it before.
We've never done it. We would just go and get the candy. We never actually had we never had the what do you call it? Where we did the car, where we decorated.
You set it up the car. Yeah.
Yeah, we would just go and get the candy or whatever and leave. So Gianna, my oldest, she's like, I want to do a trunk. And I'm like, all right, we can do a trunk. And so we did the trunk, and it was a what did we do? Oh, we did a twister. So we got the twister board, and for each thing was a candy. So like left hand yellow, you would get Skittles. Right hand blue, depending on where you spun it, would be a Kit Kat. So for each position where they spun it, the problem was everybody wanted to play it. Yeah,
you were too good.
We were too good. It was too much. Yeah, like everybody was like looked, and I'm like, I gotta like the kids want to go to other trunks. Like I had to leave Liz alone over at the trunk, and she was mobbed. It was a lot. So yes. So it was a lot of fun. Let me see if I can pull this up right here. So I was like looking back at her, and she's overwhelmed.
I'm laughing at the comments.
What are people saying?
I'm not putting it up.
3 of 10 moms are MILFs. Just remember that.
It's gonna get. Just, watch yourself.
Why is this not working? Why can't I add it? I don't understand this. Invalid file type. All right, well, shut up. I hate this thing. Yeah, we like took a picture of it. It's good. No, like the yeah, I mean, I would say that as far as attractive moms, it's like I would say it's average. I don't really have a lot of experience in other elementary schools or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, my wife is an attractive mom, right? There's a couple other attractive moms, just like with anything else. You know, so there you go. A lot of hot moms going trunk or treating. No,
oh God, no. No, can't say what I'm thinking.
Nope. So anyway, there's one other thing I wanted to hit with you. Oh, so by the way, so I didn't even tell you this. I texted you last week, and I'm like, yo, like I'm working on something. So I feel comfortable to say this right now, and I don't think it really changes anything for anybody other than how you'll probably have to watch us on Wednesday, which will not be on at least I don't think it'll be on my YouTube, but I've been pushing for us to do this on PHLY.
Let's go
on Wednesday nights. So like one of the things that I'm going to start doing is obviously I have the live show every day from 8 to 9, and maybe we do another hour at some point. But other than that, just doing stuff off of the air. So outside of the live show. So it's like, all right, something happens. Let me do 10 minutes on it. Hey, there's this news story that's out there. Let me do an 8-minute segment and then pop that 8-minute segment on YouTube, or do a short and put it up on whatever. It's weird. From doing radio for so many years, I am in a completely different ball game now. And I'm even learning, like a lot of people don't even care if you watch the whole show, the whole hour. It's all about like, hey, well, you cut up the interview you did, and if you get 3,000 views on the interview, who cares how many people watched your show? They just watched your interview. There are 3,000 people watching your interview. So as I'm learning about all this stuff on the fly, I want to start doing more stuff outside of the 8 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Right.
So I've been pushing for this to be a PHLY thing. Philly with John Marks and Delco Steve after dark.
Love it.
So probably won't be next week because things don't happen quickly at PHLY. Not as quickly as I wish things would happen. But I think in the next couple of weeks we'll do it. Let me see. Did you get engaged, Delco Steve? Any
Nah.
truth to that rumor? No?
Nope. Not there yet.
No. You guys doing next week dressed up? Oh.
It's next week to
Well, it's Thursday night.
Yeah, it'd be Thursday night.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Maybe on the regular show I will, but honestly, it's always like, yeah, it's a good idea, and then it's like, I don't feel like getting a freaking costume and doing it.
Best costume I ever did was Smarty Pants, and I totally stole it from my 6th grade teacher, and I just taped Smarties to my pants. It was a big hit in college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple, stupid.
Marks till midnight. It'll be Philly with John Marks and Delco Steve. Probably just around an hour or so. I don't really think we need to do much more than that. But
yeah, a normal thing?
Yeah, the normal thing. Maybe a little bit done. Best costume, pregnant nun.
The best costume I ever saw in college was I was working at a pizza place on Halloween. Dude comes in his giant refrigerator box with like a hole cut out, like right here. And I'm like, what the hell are you? And he's like, I'm a mammogram. I'm like, no shit, dude. Like, really?
A mammogram?
Yeah. So girls were literally going up to him and flashing him inside the hole in his box. And the back of his box was signed by everybody that did it.
No.
There's like 30 plus signatures on it. I'm like, dude, you're way too smart.
That's genius. I mean, I where somebody there had somebody that had breast cancer in their life. In college, all that's lost on, and any type of thought or worry is lost on everybody.
100%.
I remember Mike Missinelli dressed up like Corey Lytle after he crashed his plane into the skyscraper. I think he had like a Yankee uniform on, and he had like a plane. Just remember him talking about that. Pretty classless to do.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
What else did I have here? Pat Gallen's going to join me tomorrow in studio from CBS 3. We can talk about being a big news guy. Who would you be like? Who's your go-to local news person there, Delco Steve? You had to pick one.
No one. Literally.
Oh, I mean, I like think Yuki Washington or something. I don't know.
I don't watch the news, period. So
can you name any though? I don't watch the news either.
No? I couldn't.
Yuki Washington?
I mean, I know Yuki Washington, but like
all right. The Yuki Washington. Cecily Tynan, you gotta know Action News people.
Yeah, dude, they don't even come to mind like off the top of my head anymore.
Brian
like, dude,
Taft.
if you say the names, it's like, okay, yeah. It's like, but they don't come to mind. I couldn't tell you the last time I've actually watched 30 seconds of the news.
Do you know who Brian Taft is?
No.
Brian Taft, he took over for Jim Gardner. And I guess he was doing like the 5 o'clock before, but he is a very, Brian Seltzer, right? How Brian Seltzer is very businesslike, and Brian's a great guy and he's funny, but he's also like very broadcast professional, Brian Seltzer, right? Brian Taft's like that. He's like very broadcast professional. He's awesome. He really is. He's great. And he used to listen to when I did the show with Sean Brace on the weekends back however many years ago, like that on the Fanatic. Because I used to see things from social media or whatever. He would comment or he would like tweet us or whatever. And like at some point, this listener that was totally off her rocker, like totally nuts, had to block her and all this other stuff. Who knows? She might be actually listening right now, which is like you totally starts like messaging him on Twitter that we're talking all this stuff and saying all these bad things and everything else. And it was like, she's totally making this up. And like, he like responds back to this person's tweet and is saying like, that's really disappointing to hear. I'm big fans of the guys. I like listening to them. And you could hear the hurt over the tweet. And it was like, hang on a second. We didn't say that. We love you, Brian Taft. No. And I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if he ever listened to us again. Because now he's like a big deal. He's not just a young professional newscaster. Now he's like
getting sabotaged by the crazies.
Yeah, by this nut. It's unbelievable. All right, I'll leave it here because we don't talk politics on the show. I was watching football all last weekend. What's Florida State's record, by the way, Delco Steve?
They have as many wins as the Flyers do.
Dude, they really have one win. And the Flyers game's getting close here. Delco Steve's glued to the. I'll let you watch the last 3 minutes of the game. But I came to a realization, and I could go for voting for neither one of these candidates, but Donald Trump's winning the election. All the momentum is in his favor. And if you watched football on Saturday or Sunday or both, you saw for every 10 political commercials, 8 or 9 were Trump. And the other one was for Harris. And there was one ad in particular that caught me. And it was actually filmed locally. I think it was in Lower Merion at a Jewish deli because the owner's taking a bunch of shit for it. These 3 old women are having lunch. And she says, I've never voted Republican in my life, but I feel safer with Trump. There's commercials that are actually saying, I don't like Trump, but I'm going to vote for him anyway. And it was like, wow, like everything that they're selling you, the transgender commercials, and they're using the friggin' transgendered against with what Harris said, and the Breakfast Club cut. It was totally edited that they threw out there with Charlemagne the God, right? Like, he's got all the momentum right now. So if you're watching football this weekend, you're going to see more, especially in a battleground state like Pennsylvania. So
I can't wait till it's done.
Me neither, man. Me neither.
Freaking brutal.
You know who can wait till it's done? Radio and TV stations, because they're making a ton of money off the advertising.
I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation where it's just like, imagine what these people could do for good with all the money that they're just pissing away on advertising.
Oh my God. I say it all the time. Harris, since she, and this was a couple weeks ago, since she took over and she was the candidate, she raised $1 billion.
Oh my God.
You know what you could do for inner cities with $1 billion? I mean, probably not that much, but still.
You could do a lot. You could definitely do a lot. But no, it's just going right into all the freaking pockets of all these companies that run all these TV stations and radio stations.
Just a part of the machine, brother.
Yep. It's disgusting.
Just a part of the machine. All right, man. Listen. So go Eagles, go Flyers as it's coming down the stretch here.
It's done. They gave up.
Oh, it's 5-3. They gave up another goal.
They gave up an empty netter.
Oh, they did. All right. So tune in for me tomorrow. Bill Matz of Broad Street Hockey is going to join me at 8:25.
There you go.
I told him if they win, I don't care. I don't want you on. If they lose, you're coming on.
I'll flip it on and see what he has to say about the outreach.
And here's the other thing: if you don't catch it live from 8 to 9 on YouTube, it's available audio podcast. Just wherever you get your podcast, give us a 5-star review. But wherever you get your podcast, it's posted very close after 9 o'clock, and you can watch it on YouTube whenever, just like you watch it right here. So, anyway, all right, Delco Steve, good to talk to you, buddy. We'll talk next week.
Yes, sir.
All right, I got to get I forgot we have outro music as well.
Yeah, we do. Got to feed the ducks.
I did a show from home a couple Fridays ago because Tyler was like, it would have been difficult for him because he had other stuff to do. So I'm like, hell yeah, we can do it from home. And they use StreamYard. And I'm like, it's actually easier to use StreamYard because there's bed music and stuff I can use. And I can actually control it. There's no bed music I can use with whatever we do for PHLY. There it is. All right, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. PHLY.